Hey guys, we're getting into some kind of, seventh grade rich, more difficult tasks. So occasionally I'm going to throw out some homework help videos for you. I've chosen to go over number 2 and number 6 on homework because in class I noticed that people were taking a pause. A lot of you knew what to do, especially after I asked a question about it, but they would pause when they saw this negative sign in front of the constant. And then they would also pause when they had to deal with a fraction being multiplied by a variable. So that's why I chose those 2 problems. I expect you to complete the whole page, but I'm gonna work on these 2 problems with you so you've got a little backup support. All right, so this one says -3 plus 8n equals -5. My first job is to isolate the variable. What do I need to do to get the variable by itself? Well, I see a -3 and I see an 8. What's my first one that I should get rid of? The constant, the -3. How do I get rid of a -3? Well, a +3 will make 0 right here. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. If I have 5 negatives and 3 positives, I have more negatives than positives, right? How many more? 2 more negatives. All right, so now I have 8n equals -2. Well, I have to get the n by itself, so how do I get just one n? I'm gonna divide by 8 on both sides. Well, 8 divided by 8 is 1n. And -2 divided by 8, well, I could do that and turn it into a decimal, but I could also simplify it to get -1/4. Divide by 2, divide by 2, and you get -1/4 here. The decimal equivalent to that, if I were to do long division, would be 0.25. So -0.25. Either one of these answers are correct. All right, let's just summarize what we did right there because there's a lot written down. And if you're watching or copying, I want to make sure you've got that summary. So the first thing we said was to get the variable by itself, and we decided what was in our way. The -3 was in our way, and the +8 was in our way. You have to get rid of the constant first. The constant is the number without the variable. What's the opposite of -3? +3. Then we had to get rid of the 8 times n. What's the opposite of 8 times n? N divided by 8. So we did 8 divided by 8 here, and -2 divided by 8 here. Well, if I did -2 divided by 8, I would get the decimal answer -0.25 or 2500ths. But instead, I chose to keep it as a fraction by simplifying. N equals -1/4. That's simplified by the greatest common factor there. All right, so that's your summary. Let's check out number 6. Same thing. How do I get the variable by itself? The variable is b, all right? It's got 5 on this side with the b, and it also has 1/7 on this side with the b. How do I get rid of the 5? Well, if it's +5, I'm gonna take 5 away here and take 5 away from this side, because it's a mirror. Whatever I do on this side, I have to do on this side. Gotta keep it balanced. If I have 2 negatives and 5 negatives, that's gonna be 7 negatives altogether. And this would be 0, so all I have left over here is 1/7 times b equals -7. Well, if this is 1/7 times b, what's the opposite of multiplying by b? What's the opposite of multiplying by 1/7? I'm gonna divide by 1/7. See how we have 1/7 divided by 1/7? Well, anything by itself, divided by itself, is just gonna be 1. So I've got b on this side. And what is -7 divided by 1/7? I've got to keep, change, flip, or multiply by the reciprocal. So -7 is what I keep, change the sign to multiply, and flip the 1/7 to 7/1. I know -7 times +7 is -49. So b equals -49. All right. I hope that helps, guys. I do expect you to do the whole sheet. Remember to use inverse operations to multiply and divide, or add and subtract to get the variable by itself.